Hello, my friends. I am going to discuss the meanings of planetary pairs, starting with Mercury. This is part 3 in a series of videos on the meanings of planets. In part 1, we covered each of the 10 planets. In part 2, we did aspects to the moon. And here in part 3, we're going to start with aspects to Mercury. We'll see if we get all the way through the end or not. Maybe there will be a part 4, depending on how many we do. Let's do Mercury Venus. If you have an aspect between Mercury and Venus in your chart, whether it's a square, a trine, a sextile, no matter what aspect it is, you have high verbal intelligence. It's that simple. The astrology actually works more clearly and more specifically than a lot of us think. It's not just personality traits. It gives literary ability. It gives the ability to express things in a way that is sensitive and interesting. Because what happens with Mercury Venus is Mercury, the connection of ideas, is connecting ideas based on how beautiful they are, the way that they're attracted to it. So the child with a Mercury Venus aspect automatically starts using new words. They don't just say big, For a person. They may say the person is rotund. They learn these new words like a rotunda. They're round, and they're fascinated by the tone quality, and how that word draws you into it. The ability to form good sentence structure, good paragraphs, interesting writing. They read excellent literature. They love the flow of it. They love good stories, good movies, where the scenery and the plot and everything works together. It gives intelligence. Most things we think about are not solving algebra problems. They're not purely more abstract. They involve this element of beauty. Mercury Venus gives overall intelligence. People do well in school. Mercury Mars, the eternal student. We think of Mercury Mars, we think, oh, they're going to argue with us all the time. Actually, Mercury Mars never stops learning. Doesn't matter if they're 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. They are just interested in the nuts and bolts. How does that work? How do you make that jewelry? Oh, you have to use these kind of instruments. Oh, that's so amazing. And you zoom into it with these lenses. You do this, you do that. How does things happen? How do you fix the car? How do you make a pretty table, a door? How do you keep it swinging the right way? I mean, all these little details in our lives, how the heck do you do them? How do you build that house? Mercury Mars wants to learn. It finds it so fascinating. Oh, that's how it swings open from the simplest thing, let alone how does a clock work? How does a computer work? They want to understand the nuts and bolts, piece by piece, of how it works. They want to wash away the fog. And that's why they sometimes argue. That's why they're impatient, because it's not clear. They don't feel it. They don't quite grasp it. Sometimes people give answers that are so abstract, they don't really understand it themselves. It just sounds good, and they get argumentative because they really want to understand. That's what Mercury Mars is. Uncomfortable with just trusting that everything will be okay without understanding it. They don't like that. When you get to the heart of the meanings of the planets, you'll see how much more accurate your interpretation is. If you're seeing clients, you can just target things more specifically rather than just giving the typical symptoms. Mercury Jupiter, interest in social trends, history, religion, philosophy, and politics. Those are the big picture. Jupiter wants to think about the big picture, the context. What is the context of our lives? That's the history, the religion, philosophy, politics. They want to get the big picture, and that's what big picture means. They're not motivated to work through the tiny technical details, the debugging, the dotting every I and crossing every T. They just want to get the big picture. Once they get the big picture, they got it, fine, that's enough. Now, if somebody has Mercury Jupiter and Mercury Saturn, which is our next thing, then they'll be interested in both, because Mercury Saturn is analysis. Some people think Mercury, Saturn, oh, you were inhibited when you were young. You probably didn't talk a lot. Oh, you're introverted. Oh, you had problems. Everything with Saturn, supposedly problems. Actually not. What you'll see consistently with Saturn is its analysis and interest in technical detail. Scientific reasoning. It eliminates the variables. What's connected to what? What do we really need? When you go, especially to college level work, the professor will often remove a lot of your sentences that are not needed. What's the real point of this? Make the point. Where are we going? What's fundamental? What's essential? That's Mercury Saturn. So making sure the essential point is clearly made before proceeding to the next thing. It's a scientific, analytical, and academic approach, and it does get blocked when people don't make things clear about what the real point is. Okay, Mercury and Uranus, quick reflexes. You're going to find people with Mercury and Uranus. They type fast. They can play certain kinds of games that require speed. They're in the moment. They're connecting very fast, very clever. You'll ask them a question, boom, they come up with these interesting responses from out of nowhere. They respond quickly. They can come up with a proposal, a suggestion, an insight. If you're at a meeting, boom, they come up with some new way of thinking about it, new way to see things. Others feel stuck. It's a quick, clever, in the moment, present attention. They may not be good at long-term planning or detailed problem solving. If they don't have, Mercury, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, they may have that as well. But if that's weak, it's going to be just in that moment quickness. You see in astrology how many different kinds of intelligence there are. That's why when people look at a chart and say, oh, you're very intelligent, what the heck does that mean? Mercury, Jupiter intelligence? Mercury, Venus intelligence? Mercury, Saturn intelligence? Everybody's intelligent. What kind of intelligence is it? What can they bring in a way that other people are not able to? Now, Mercury, Neptune. This is another combination that people give a bad interpretation. It has a bad reputation in astrology. Neptune's a fog. You're spaced out. You connect that with Mercury. It's good for intuition. You're lucky if you can get through high school. It has this really bad image, but it's not. In the research we've done on Mercury Neptune, it's a fascination with ideas. What happens with Mercury Neptune is that people see education as something wondrous and beautiful, as magical, that somebody could go to school and learn medicine and heal you. It's a divine gift. And you know what? They're right. Mercury Neptune wakes us up to the magic that's in our lives that we overlook. The rest of us are thinking, oh, you'll get a good job. Oh, you're so smart. Mercury Neptune isn't just thinking about, oh, you'll get a good job or, oh, you're so smart. But it's like the gift of the muses. Even technical things. Oh, you can fix a car. It's a gift. It's a wonder. It's magic. The magic of the mind is what Mercury Neptune is tuned into. And they need an education that emphasizes that. Sometimes they do poorly in school because the teachers and the environment is removing the magic. They're taking the life out of it. And they're focusing too much on performance and results and not enough on enjoying the magic of what you're doing. So they lose interest if ideas are presented in too dry of a way. Now, Mercury Pluto, strong opinions. They get fixated on a topic for a very long period of time. They get so deeply immersed in it, they can't extricate themselves out of it. They often don't fully appreciate the point of view of other people. They become obsessed with an idea, a point of view, and they drive it to the end. It's a kind of obsessive thinking. The positive side of it is that they will push past the limits of everybody else. The negative side is it tends not to be as open and receptive. So people with Mercury Pluto sometimes need to take a deep breath and make sure they're listening and appreciating different points of view, and then continue on with their obsessive, focused way of doing things. Okay, I think I'm going to leave Venus for a separate video. So this video will be just the aspects to Mercury. Okay, my friends, we'll continue in the next video with more aspects. Thank you. God bless. Namaste.